Joey, question to you. First of all, we haven't spoke about this subject in...
It's been a while.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of feel like...
6 months plus, maybe more.
Yeah, we really haven't touched on this. Like, we touched on 3i Atlas, but recently, for those who live under a rock, Amazon released a documentary about what has been coming to a head in the last few years,
Right.
really since COVID 2020, right? When they, during the pandemic, released that UFOs, aliens may be in fact real. And recently they came out with a documentary, and they do tend to put UFO information out when things in the political field are in turmoil.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a nice little distraction, but distractions, you hide the truth in plain sight, and distractions are not always, illegitimate.
Right.
Just because it's a distraction doesn't mean that it's illegitimate.
Right. So, to be clear, I do believe...
The documentary is called Age of Disclosure, by the way.
Right, that's what we're talking about. Joey's going to give his review on it. But to be clear, I do believe in UFOs. We've heard my story like tons of times on here. What I've saw, we've heard your beach story when you were coming back from Robert Moses fairly recently. I do believe there's something out there based on what I saw. There's too much evidence out there that there is something that's defying the laws of physics, that is way too fast, way too crazy for our military or anybody in the country to have that technology. And I know there was conversations in the documentary about reverse engineering and things of that nature.
Right.
And I've had authors on the podcast, Leslie and Stephen Shaw, who have given their theories that they're underground and they're under the water. I know that popped up on the documentary.
Right.
I just want to make it
perfect place to hide.
Want to make it clear, did not see it, but thank you to social media, TikTok and YouTube, I was able to see enough of it to get a gist, and even watch someone else's review on YouTube about it. But this is going to be your show, Joey. I would like
take the reins.
The review about Age of Disclosure, so that we can tell people what we think, from Joey.
I thought that it was eye-opening. There's a lot of documentaries. There's a lot of UFO documentaries that are eye-opening, but this one in particular, because there are so many military professionals, intelligence professionals that are within our government, senators, governors, everybody taking this, to the forefront of the news, or trying to, at least, right?
Can I ask a question? Because
congressional hearings.
Did not watch it.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've seen in the past, it's one side of the political party that's usually talking about this stuff. Is, from what you saw in this documentary,
it's mixed.
Is it mixed?
It's very mixed.
Is it both Republican and Democrats?
And I think both parties are very interested in knowing what's in our airspace, because now it's clear that we have instrumentation that has detected it. We have eyewitnesses. U.S. pilots. Commander David Fravor is one of them. There's a few others in that podcast that have actually seen UFOs try to chase this thing down, and it's just that fast. Something that's going like 13,000 miles an hour. Like, for reference, and people don't know how fast that is, like, we can't go that fast, number one, with our known military aircraft that are the fastest. Like, the fastest we've ever done is like Mach 9. It's that big black ship. Or that big ship, that big black plane that's on the USS Intrepid that's sitting in New York. That's still, and it's probably like from the 70s, but it still holds the speed record as the fastest jet that we've ever created. And so I'm sure we've made technological leaps and bounds since then, and it's probably classified. But as far as unclassified information goes, that's as fast as human beings have ever been. And the reason is, I mean, you can only go so fast before you black out. There's too much G-force on the body, and your organs eventually start to split and move around, and you essentially die in the aircraft that you're in because you're going too fast. We can't withstand certain speeds. So that being said, if these things are flying double what we can do, who's in that craft? And is it manned or is it unmanned? There's a lot of questions, right? Like, because a biological organism can't exist going that fast unless they have some sort of anti-gravity technology where inside the ship it's much different than what the force is experiencing outside. And from the testimony of these UAPs going, that's what they call them now, by the way. It's just so weird, right? The UFOs our whole life, and now it's like unidentified aerial phenomena. Anyway,
I guess even aliens and UFOs have to be politically correct.
Right.
Alien came to the White House one day and say, "Hey, listen, I'm popping in real quick. Don't like that you call us UFOs.
Yeah.
I'd like to be known as UAP.
An aerial phenomenon.
It's unidentified aerial phenomenon. So you misgendered me.
I think that was at one point like trying to take away from, or maybe like to create the seriousness around. That could be potentially what it is too, because if you say UFO, right away what pops into people's heads is like that goes into the files of like JFK conspiracy and all these weird conspiracies of like, this is, you're a nut job tinfoil hat guy if you believe that kind of stuff. But now they're trying to get the public to reel it in. Hey, this stuff has been going on a long time. There are actual pilots that are seeing it, and not just like aircraft pilots or fighter pilots, by the way. You have people going on record with the FAA all the time that they've seen things in the sky, like just regular pilots, from airlines to private jets. These pilots are seeing things in the sky that they can't explain, and people want answers, or at least some people want answers. And I think we are living, and this is what I got from my takeaway from the documentary, I think we are living in a time where disclosure is here. It happened already. People just aren't listening. And what they're actually waiting for is this big presidential speech that tells everybody that we're not alone in the galaxy and that we've been visited by extraterrestrials and that we have the proof. And so that's so loaded. And I don't think a president is ever going to, and maybe I could be wrong. Maybe a president does do it one day. Are we ready for that kind of, I think we are. Are we ready for that type of disclosure? But the disclosure already happened. You have all these professionals, and I have like a list written down. I just want to read this list off.
Joey notes?
Joey's notes. There's no Nick today, baby.
No
There's
Nick
notes
today.
here.
I know.
So presidents who have said they've seen something strange. There's only two. I have a feeling there's more, but on the record, there's only two. Jimmy Carter reported a UFO sighting in 1969 before becoming president, and he's talked about it openly, like with the public always, right? You could just look those videos up on YouTube. Ronald Reagan claimed he saw a UFO while he was governor of California in the mid-1970s. And then now check this out. Presidents who have said they believe that life exists in the universe. John F. Kennedy, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. And Donald Trump has gone on the record and, to talk about the Tic Tac UFO and a lot of things. He's like, there are things in our airspace that we don't know what they are. They're not ours. He's like specifically said this verbatim. And it's like, that is disclosure in and of itself. If it's
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is, but I bet you it's Kamala.
That's disclosure in and of itself. People just don't want to hear it. And I think that with the way social media is now, things trend for like 2 weeks. Our attention span is very, very quick. We talk about something for a little while and then it's gone. And then no one cares. People are going about their days. The work. We're working 6 days. Some people 7 days out of the week. The economy is.
God
it is
bless
what it
the
is.
people that work in 7 days. God bless you.
I'm there. I'm there. I'm not gonna lie. And that's just where we are as a society to really sustain what we've created, is that there needs to be this constant workflow. And I don't think because of that, I don't think people are as interested in topics that are outside of their the norm or their reality. Like, hey, just give me the Epstein list. I don't care about UFOs. I don't want to talk about that. I'm mad at what's going on because I give most of my life away to work. I think that people would ponder about the universe a little bit more and their, existence in this universe if they had more time, if they weren't just stuck in a work, come home mode all the time. And it's just, you hear about something it's fleeting. You care about it for maybe a little while. Like everybody was making fun of Trump and the Epstein stuff and Bill Clinton and all those memes for like a week, and then it died. No one cares about that anymore. Now it's on to the next thing, you know? And it takes away from us actually learning truths, because now the government knows that the public doesn't really care about truths. They just care about, you know, little factoids that is going to get everybody buzzing, you know, create little distractions so that they can pass whatever bills they need to pass that take a little bit more of your freedom away, because they feel like, you know, you have freedom, but you shouldn't have too much. We're going to take this away. You're going to take that away.
Well, the crazy thing is that with these release of information, like they try to pass a bill to get this information out there. Like, we're going to pass a bill and we're going to call it the UAP Act 104. But within the bill, they try to pass other things that are irrelevant to the topic of the UAP phenomenon.
Right.
And I've heard that being done before. Like in the 400-page bill, on page 229, they have something where we're going to send money to like Uganda for studies of crabs can fly all of a sudden.
Just dumb things.
And then within that, there are people, I don't think any politician sits there and actually reads 400 plus pages. I honestly don't think they do.
I think now they're taking those pages, they're putting them into PDF files, and they're having ChatGPT or any AI algorithm really just say, hey, like, what are the most ridiculous ones that we could just scratch off the list? And now that's why you have so much discourse between, you know, the left and the right, because they can't sneak things into the bill anymore like they used to. I mean, because now each side is aware of the most ridiculous things that are snuck into bills, where in the past they just passed up, like they'll pass this 1,000-page bill and there's money that goes to the most stupidest programs that you could think of. It's
I've read some of them.
You could ask ChatGPT real quick, like, if you guys don't believe us, you could ask ChatGPT or any AI, like, what are some of the, you know, crazier funded things in the world that the United States has sent money to? And it's just like they're throwing money at the wall. And honestly, what it really is money laundering, right? Like, you give money to a certain organization or a certain, that money's not really going to that. Let's be real. Does it really get there? You know,
I just read something about Tim Walsh. There was a report that some of the money, like COVID money or something like that, was going to some completely different organization that was irrelevant to anything in the place where he was governor of the state.
It's theft.
It's complete. And then like there's like legit gripe about it, and people are upset on both sides. But you know, again, I don't necessarily trust politicians. I have kind of like really refrained about talking about anything with politics, even cutting it from my feed, deleting personal pages. It just helps me in the state that I've been in.
And I really think that there are a lot of people, you know, share your sentiment.
Yeah,
I'm 100% wholeheartedly. They share your sentiment, and that you see the disinterest. And you know, when we were younger, it was like all about do aliens really exist? The 70s, 80s, 90s, people were interested in this topic. If it is legitimate, if there is life in our universe, no one cares anymore. And then NASA will come out and say, like, hey, we found, you know, existence on Mars of biological life that's like thousands of years old, like signs of biological life on Mars. So now what they're telling us is like life exists outside of Earth or in the universe, or did exist, right? Because they didn't find actual organisms on Mars.
Which gives validity to the conspiracy about there being life on Mars, and there was some catastrophic event 100%. And things came from Mars to the Earth because they were like, oh, this planet is about to go bye-bye, so we have to go to another planet, which actually coincides with that conspiracy theory, you know, and then they found the specific element on Mars that only comes from some type of nuclear explosion, which can only be done by what we've made here,
fission
or some
versus fusion.
They found it on Mars, and that is something that raises an eyebrow that there was life. But these are things that we already know, and this is the double-edged sword. This is what really sucks, right? I saw a UFO in 1995. I told everyone that I saw a UFO in 1995. I was in 3rd grade. No one believed me. Everyone thought I was crazy. All my friends, some family members were like, no, you're bullshitting, until my parents joined in on the conversation and said, no, he's telling the truth. We all
saw it.
collectively saw it. And for years, I was labeled the weird guy in my school, and it just was something that in high school years I was like just very into, and started my group of paranormal investigations, right? And this went on and on and on, and there was like a 50-50 group of people. There was some that don't believe, and then the other half that do believe in something strange and mysterious is going on. And then we get into 2020, where COVID hit, and there was a very big distraction. Granted, in the beginning, in my opinion, it was a very concerning distraction, because it was like no one knew what was going on. And in the midst of COVID, like I had alluded to earlier, in the midst of COVID, when everyone is distracted, everyone's watching the CNN death counter that they put on every day, which was ridiculous.
They got to keep the illusion.
And they announced randomly, and you and I had texted each other. So, do you see what they just posted? Because we're on the same page with this stuff. And I was like, they posted it. Look, when they did it, no one's going to care. And obviously, and I did comb social media that day, because what was there to do during COVID? There was walk outside, social media, video games, movies, and eat. And I'm looking at the comments on the posts on these news outlets, and there wasn't a lot of people that were intrigued. Now we fast forward. What else is distracting us from this type of information that should be pretty like good, salivating information, which should make people be like, oh my God, this is crazy. We're not alone. So in the course of the last, we're in 2026 pretty much. In the course of the last 6 years since 2020, we have had COVID, the Hunter Biden scandals, the Biden laptop, right? The whole thing with Trump, the Russian collusion thing, which, we can, without getting into it, because I'm not.
Right. But it's all relevant to what we're talking about how this people don't relevant. Care about.
But this is what came out throughout the course of the UFO information coming out, that this is true, that there are things that we have fighter pilots that are saying this is entirely true. And with all the Hunter Biden laptop,
their voice gets drowned out.
Yeah, it completely drowned out. And then like now, as you said, which is it's not something I haven't really been reading, people are funny in the comments, right? They'll put that LeBron James has a third toe. I mean, 7 toes. And there'll be someone in the comments that will be like, cool, where's the Epstein files? And I think they're doing it for one of two reasons. Genuinely, they want to know. Or two, they just want the likes in that comment thread. You know what I mean?
I mean, they got them now. So
yeah, so
that's going to be, they're going to find something new and something else trending to say that they think is cool
what
and
I'm
funny.
Trying to allude to is throughout the course of the last 6 years, this is something significant. People like you and I are like, wow. But because there's so much other stuff thrown out there in the ether, people's attention spans can't grasp what they should be finding interesting. And this is stuff that's been going on for quite some time. I have a reel that's scheduled for today. Obviously, you guys are watching or listening to us, and obviously it airs on Friday, but we're filming on Tuesday, the 2nd of December. But I have a reel scheduled today. I found it interesting. I knew what we were going to talk about. In 1989, this just goes to show, this is just one of many stories.
Right.
Okay. We have the Brazilian Varahar incident. We have Roswell, New Mexico. We have tons of things. Russia, the lake where they were diving in there and shit happened. All around the world, things happened. 1989, from the course of November 29th into 1990 in Belgium, there were unidentified triangular shapes flying over the countryside, where not only civilians were witnessing and calling it in to the authorities, there was army personnel, officers, and news reporters seeing these crafts over the countryside in Belgium, 1989. And today, on December 2nd, is when things started getting to be taken seriously, where they started documenting it and going to the military, to their Air Force there, and sending F-16s into the airspace to try to intercept and analyze what these things are. F-16s during the...
They know it's coming to a head. People have... You know why?
This was during... This was 1989. They sent F-16s into the air. Now, at the time, F-16s at that time were like, that's... Oh, my God. Like, we got some crazy stuff, right? Yeah. Now we got, like, F-20 and a halfs, and they're doing crazy things. And they couldn't track them. They couldn't pinpoint where how they're moving like that. They were making erratic movements, which we can't copy.
Right.
And this is 1989 in Belgium. And it just goes to show you that this stuff has been happening for so long.
The Battle of L.A.
The Battle of L.A., post World War II. They thought the Japanese
UFOs that buzzed the Capitol building in the 50s or 60s.
A lot of things. I believe Battle of L.A. was post World War II because, or maybe in the middle of it. I forget. But these are things that happened that are completely in the news documented. And now what's really crazy is that we're getting lost in something that we should be like, oh my God, this is real. We should be excited, but we're not because of everything else going around in the news. Now, the one thing that I have to say is thanks to social media, TikTok and other people's pages and YouTube for not letting me spend $20 to rent or $40 to buy, because I would rather...
You could just watch the reels.
There's something going on this week that I want to take that $40 and use it for food. I'm treating myself this week to some really good food that it's a cheat day for me.
Right.
We just had Thanksgiving, but this week is an extra cheat day for me, and I'm looking forward to it. However, I wanted to not spend $40 on that video, and I didn't want to spend $20 on it. I'd rather spend it elsewhere. The bad thing about it is it's on one streaming service. It's on Amazon. Yeah. And Amazon is like a conglomerate of just it's got buku money, and they're milking people for the Amazon Prime, for everything on the videos that they stream, things like that, right? It was $40 to buy, $20 to rent, okay? And you watch it, and from what I gathered, from what I watched, and from other people's review, yeah, there's some great information on there, right? Mm-hmm. Honestly speaking, my question to you, is this information that we already knew? It
is, but not in the format in which it's presented in this documentary.
So you're presenting it a particular way.
With the professionals behind the information for the first time, rather than the spectators or the individuals that are like, for instance, Jeremy Corbell. He's a journalist, or, you know.
We know who he is.
Everybody knows who he is at this point, right? He's not a military professional. He's not a governor. He's not a senator. He doesn't have access.
He's an investigative reporter.
Exactly. He doesn't have access to what some of these professionals have access to and have witnessed and seen themselves. He's just reporting on instances of information that he can gather through the Freedom of Information Act, etc. So when a guy like him is trying to, go all out and really tell the public the truth, the public is not, his credibility is not going to be as valid as, let's say, a Marco Rubio, who jumps on the camera and says, he's currently, in the government.
Those are two people that one side, with Corbell, he's so focused on one subject now that he takes his title as investigative reporter, and it goes out the window because he's only investigating one subject now. So you have a group of people that don't believe in this BS and are going to X him out. Now, why do you think Marco Rubio, no one takes him serious? Because he's on one side of politics.
Right.
And
the left side of politics also has their individuals that are actually coming forward,
so people consumed in hate.
They're like, oh, he's
let the hate flow through
man.
you, and they don't care because he's on one side of politics. It doesn't matter whether
you listen to him or whether you listen to a Democratic senator. There are Democratic senators that are coming forward that are saying the same thing. They're not as popular, I should say. They're not as famous.
Yeah, they're not big names
as a politician as Marco Rubio is. He's made headlines.
They're the Andrew Vasquez's of.
And I'll give you. I have a list here. Some more notes.
Joey was ready for this episode.
It's a clear list of government officials that have served in the public or in Congress in general. So we'll start with the presidents: Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, and these are all individuals that say they believe in extraterrestrial life and or have seen information in the government.
Can I tell you something?
Shoot.
You read this already.
I didn't.
It's
a different list, right?
It's a different list.
Now
this is politicians, not sitting presidents or former sitting presidents.
Those are the only two presidents that have ever said that they believe in UFOs and have seen UFOs, right? Senators: Harry Reid, Marco Rubio, Tim Burchett, Dennis, I'm going to butcher his name, Kachin? No, it's not Kachin. I know who he is. I forgot.
Kuklинch?
Yes. Jerry McNary, and then governors, obviously, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, Feifel, Symington, right? Governor of Arizona. Former governor of
Symington.
Symington.
S-Y-M,
Yeah,
Symington.
right. And then, so military intelligence leaders, David Fravor, U.S. Navy commander, Alex Dietrich, U.S. Navy lieutenant commander, Ryan Graves, U.S. Navy pilot, has seen a UFO, has chased a UFO down. David Fravor as well. Chad Underwood, U.S. Navy pilot, another one, right? These are the guys that are, sitting at the congressional hearings talking about
testifying.
Yeah, testifying. Right. General George Brown, U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff, right? These are people high up in the government. Like, these are not kooks, and they're still serving our government, right? Gordon Cooper, NASA astronaut, and also United States Air Force. Obviously he's old now. I don't even know if he's still around. I think he might be. Edgar Mitchell, another NASA astronaut, Buzz Aldrin, and they've all had the same consensus where they're trying to let the public know, like, hey, aliens are real, and people aren't hearing it. It's like, these people have been in space. If there's anybody you should believe, it's the people who have been in space. But we're so disconnected now that there are people, like, I have friends that believe that we haven't even been into space. Like, space doesn't exist. We live on a flat Earth.
I believe
there's a dome.
I believe we've been to space. But I also believe a lot of the stuff that they put out could possibly be.
We're not even done. Defense intelligence officials, Luis Elizondo.
Elizondo.
Department of Defense and ATIP, right? Christopher Mellon, Deputy Assistant Security of Defense. John Ratcliffe, Director of National Intelligence, right? These are all, this is a Googleable thing. This is Googleable.
If you don't believe me, you can be
all these individuals, right? These high-ranking Director of National Intelligence is telling the public that there is something in our skies. We don't know what it is, and it's not ours. And now there was an interesting moment on the Age of Disclosure, the most interesting moment I felt of the entire documentary. Marco Rubio said that the highest political figures don't know because they need to have deniability. Because if they did know and the public asked them, right, and they lied, they're in trouble. So there are individuals in government that are there for like 30, 40 plus years. You've seen these, senators and whoever else. They just continuously get reelected and reelected.
Chuck Schumer, Mitch McConnell.
Right. And they're just forever in politics. These individuals don't feel the need to tell the changing hand of politics, meaning the people that are in and out of politics. For
what changing hand? Some of them have been there forever. There is no changing hand.
I mean, I'm talking about they're not the changing hand, but I'm talking about the individuals that are only in politics for 4 or 5 years. Why should they tell a president if he's going to be out in 4 years or out in 8 years? He doesn't need to know. It's a need to know basis. And Marco Rubio was basically saying, matter of fact, I should just play the clip. It's interesting. Because I'm not going to do it justice. Here we go.
All right. From Age of Disclosure. I do not own the rights to this video.
There we go.
It is a clip from Age of Disclosure exclusively on Amazon.
Play the sound. We're not even playing the video.
Exclusively on Amazon Prime. I do not own the rights to this video clip. Proceed.
All right, let's put the volume up. Oh, why are we not playing here?
Oh. Okay, I take it back.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait. Before I take it back. I can't afford to get sued.
I think I'm on Bluetooth somewhere. I might be connected. Yeah, I was. All right.
Okay. We had a technical difficulty. Here we go.
Yeah, something's going on with
they know
volume.
They know we're talking about us.
This is crazy.
They know we're talking about us.
Secrets and being like, no,
All right, there we go.
Okay.
Being like, no, I'm not going to tell you.
Check this out.
The president shouldn't know about these things because that way the president always has deniability. All they need is a nod in this direction or in that direction. But that begins to ramp out of control. Frankly, I don't even know the president would know who to ask. You could go to the director of the CIA, nowadays the director of national intelligence, and ask them. And even that person may not know because those people rotate. But the people 3 layers underneath them that are there for 30 years, to them, it's like I've seen these people come and go. I have no obligation to tell them it exists. It just never percolates out. A lot of people have this.
Ooh. I thought that was the most interesting part of the entire documentary because there is a layer of government in which people safeguard information or hoard information
I find it
from
hard.
the general public or
I
the
find it
people at
hard
the
to-
top. I don't think that that's hard to believe. I
find it hard to believe not to tell the commander in chief something that there is something in outer space, or according to,
but it's a need to know basis.
according to
You
the
know what I mean?
documentary Under the Water, which Stephen and Leslie Shaw have been saying, underground, underwater. I find that very hard to believe. But granted, it's need to know basis.
Every president, even like there's clips of Bill Clinton being asked on the Tonight Show, you know, if UFOs exist, and he was like, or if he's tried to find out, and he's like, yeah, honestly, I've tried to find out, but he's like, it doesn't really go anywhere. But I will say that there are strange things in the sky. Like he even talks about it. So like every president, I feel like, has tried and come up a little short because there's this compartmentalization within the government of individuals who are, you know, you could call them the deep state or the shadow government, you know, the figures that never leave, that hold this information from the general public and from the top, you know, commanders within our government, because they change hands. But on the back end, it's like, well, why do they need to know? I mean, we don't feel like we need to tell them. Do the American people need to know? Or if they don't want the American people to know, let's just say that, right? Why should they tell a president, or why should they tell a sitting official who might have the gall to go out there and say, hey, the people need to know this and I'm going to tell them? Then they got to go kill that guy. You know what I mean? Like in all seriousness, like if they safeguard that information, if they're a deep state type of government and they don't want people to know, and they leverage that information, right? You're not going to tell somebody who you think is going to go tell or tattletale, you know?
Well, to me, there's no denying that there is something out there. And unfortunately, we were relying on politicians and people in charge to get the information out there. And whether it's Trump or a future president, although I want it to be me, the man who told you.
I think he would 100% wholeheartedly hold the press conference right away.
I would love to do it.
And tell people.
The best president in the world is telling you that they are little green men and they have the best Diet Cokes ever. They brought me one straight from Mars, from the tap, and I said, you know what? No tariffs on that Diet Coke. You're going to just come here freely. Give me that Coke. We'll work out a deal, the best deal. We're going to call it the Interstellar deal. It's going to be the best deal ever. I no doubt
Until
about it.
they overstay their welcome. Then they got to go.
Then you got to go build the wall somehow around the world. Do it. Listen, I no doubt there's something out there, and unfortunately we have to rely on politicians to be the ones to tell us. But there are people like you and I that hold this curiosity. We look into it. We watch these documentaries. We take it as with a grain of salt. And obviously speaking, there's no doubt in my mind that at some point that the truth will come out.
Or but not enough people care. And I think that's why they safeguard this information. And also, I will say some of it could potentially be our, aircraft. And then the question becomes like, there for the people that always say like, well, it's probably ours. It's probably just classified, under layers, and you're just never going to know what it is. And you're okay with that? Like that's my question to them. You're okay with all these classified technologies that could take us out of essentially the Stone Age? Because it feels like we're still like way behind technologically in terms of, we're getting some stuff now, but
some cool stuff.
But we're talking about technology that would revolutionize the world, right? Revolutionize energy, right? It would bring this age of freedom and abundance to everyone. And it just seems like if you're going to hold back that information, That'd be the stupidest thing that you could do as a government, because why wouldn't you unleash that type of technology for the world so that our whole existence is about getting better, right? And if we had, and then the question becomes after we're done with, is it relevant to release that information to the public? Okay, so how did you advance that technology so quickly? That'd be my next question. Where'd you get it from? Who created it? What's the man's name behind this innovation that you're holding secret for like the last 100 years?
Right.
That's a big question, because the reality is anybody that smart collectively? Like, is one person that smart, or is a group, a think tank of individuals that smart to create anti-gravity? Right?
I'll say this: people thought Bob Lazar.
It can't be our ships.
Bob Lazar was crazy, and then Bob Lazar has been
spot on,
very vindicated in the recent years. I think so, and unfortunately, Joey, small minds don't ask big questions.
Yeah.
You know. Now, real quick, because we're running low on time. On a scale from 1 to 5 stars, what would you rate the age of disclosure?
I give it a 4.
Okay.
I give it a 4. It doesn't have like shock. It has shock value, but only if you understand what you're watching. You know, I don't think people care anymore about politicians saying anything.
I agree.
There's so much distrust in the government that no one gives a damn about who says what.
I turn anything that pops up on the news with politics. I shut off.
I like the pilots. I like the people who are on the lower tier of the government that are like, hey, it's time that we told people. And because some of the stuff was declassified and they had no choice but to release those files, now the pilots can talk about it openly, not lose their job, not get in trouble. You know, there's no
NDAs
trust.
are gone.
Exactly.
NDAs are gone. Well, Joey, I think when the next time that Amazon decides to put a $40 documentary out,
I'll buy it
instead of legitimately just giving it to us because we are paying.
I think it's
for
like 25. I don't even think it's 40.
It's 40.
No. I mean, I rented it. I think I didn't buy it. I rented it
for $20.
For 20.
I think I saw it at the price of $40, which was like, what?
To buy it.
To buy, yes.
Yeah.
And you really don't own it.
I look at it as like, if I were to see something in the movies with a few people, it's going to cost me way more than just watching it with the few people at home.
That's why you are the glass half full, and I am the glass half empty. There's a difference. But I think the next time that we have to do, we do an episode like this, I think we have to get together and watch the documentary together. And usually it would be late at night. I would be very tired. And the best way to stay up to watch these documentaries is coffee from How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York. If you want to get a nice fresh cup of joe, no better place than How You Brewing Cafe, with over 14 different flavors of iced coffee, and of course hot coffee, Americanos, macchiato, espressos, and much more. And of course sweet treats in the glass that you can eat there at the place or take it on the run. How You Brewing Cafe in Tuckahoe, New York is the best coffee in the state. The best. And of course, a big thank you. Having this conversation would not be possible if it wasn't for Spotify for Creators. If you don't know about Spotify for Creators, it's the free app that allows you to get your podcast idea out there. If you have a phone, tablet, or computer, or a UAP, head over to Spotify for Creators to get started. Joey,
hell of an episode. I didn't sound too crazy.
No, you did not sound crazy. This is something that's on the
Someone's
news.
going to pull this clip up and use it against me, or some of these clips.
You should see when I hold conversations at work and when I did my little ghost walk history thing at my job.
That's why I had to take out the list of people who said it before me, because I'm like, okay. I'm not going to be the only one.
I was proud of you because you not only did you hold the show for me today, and you had notes. You knew what we were talking about. So
it's been a while.
So that is a win, buddy. So, and I hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving. And just a few more episodes left until season 6 is over. We've been doing a season a year. Season 7 is going to be wild. But until next time, it's been another episode of the Say What Again, Billy podcast.
We got to get the, we're still rolling, so we can get the, just put your hand out like this. You can put a UFO right in the middle.
This is behind the scenes. This is what we do behind the scenes. You know, we're not recording no more, and we're still talking about UFOs. This Joey gets so enticed with this stuff.
You need the what do you call it, the YouTube what the fucking
what is the
the main picture. I always forget what it's called.
Oh, the overlay
Yeah.
for the YouTube.
There's
overlay?
like a term for it.
Overlay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to get privy with this stuff.
You just take the screenshot and then you put the UFO right there. We're good.